Welcome to Market Matters. I'm Nadia Hassan together with Sulhi, Azman. It is a sea of red today as far as we can tell. November has not gotten itself up to a good start. I was actually looking at this FBM KLCI is actually down about 1.64 points to 0.1% to 1,664.07. I don't know, what did you feel about the region today?
Well, I think, as you said earlier, the regional market is all in this red of sea today. Following this China PMI index, which has been out today by PMI Caixin, saying that it is falling below 50%.
So yeah, this is the big thing I think that affected a lot of people. What did you call it? It's Monday Blues because we had a very nice Halloween. A Halloween video is up if you actually still want to look at it. And I think the sugar that people had clearly was never enough. And it just couldn't push people all the way around. But you were talking about those China PMI numbers. They call it the KLCI China Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index. It's actually rose to about 48.3. Above what they forecast, which is 47.5. What this actually means, though, if you want to break it down, is that the fact if you are over 50, that means you are all raring to go. But if you're under 50, that means everything is shrinking. I think people are saying that there is some pickup, but whether it's going to sustain, I'm not really sure. But coming back home, we were talking about counters. 455 actually closed up. 412 actually closed down.
And also today, MIDF research said that foreign funds has been selling 600 million ringgit worth of shares in the open market. And as we are entering November and December, it's expected to be a little bit slower.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Maybe low because people are just gearing up for Christmas, right? Maybe so. Turkey is actually going to push it. Just regionally looking at it, Nikkei, as you mentioned, closed down 2.1%. Hang Seng also dropped. Shanghai was 1.7% lower. But moving on to our hot stock of the day, even though the market was down, we are looking at something which I almost feel is fated. Well, this hot stock is fated. We're talking about Destini Bhd. What happened with them today?
Well, okay, today Destini Bhd announced its third quarter earnings today, where it saw revenue went up by 130.4% up, while net profit jumped 65.1% up as well. And this was due to the strong demand for its MRO, the maintenance, repair and overhaul business in the aviation and marine services.
So yeah, Destini is actually known as being an MRO contractor to a lot of, government agencies. We're talking about Royal Malaysian Air Force, Army, etc., etc. So these big numbers, according to them, was mostly because of the fact that they actually saw a massive growth. Talk about a really big top-line growth. Although earnings actually went up 60%, though, it wasn't as much as the matching as you saw for revenue. So for me, the worry for that is, are their margins still holding?
I mean, if you look at the construction order book, for instance, they have a 400 million ringgit that can last and provide earnings visibility in the next 2 to 3 years. And talking about margins, I think the margins are also a little bit worried. But so far with what they have and what they have their plan in the book, it looks to be boding well for them. If you look at the aviation sector, for instance, right, they have actually tied up a joint venture with UK's Avia Technology, where they're going, trying to do some MRO services with Eupe Corp Bhd.
Yeah, so the AirAsia one is actually quite good. The engineering outsourcing services, I think that's a great move, because my main issue is that, in the case of Bausted, you see a lot of government contracts. We all love government contracts. They're solid, they're great paymasters, but is that all that you guys want to be? Of course, this company does have a bit of, let's say pedigree. It's a GMD. Actually, Datuk Razabil has 32% stake in Destini. He's UMNO Youth Treasurer, right? And Division Chief of, where is it?
UMNO Youth in Perlis.
Yeah, so I think if they want to diversify, that would be a good thing for them. But
yeah, I mean, they are riding on the growth momentum of Eupe Corp Bhd to grow into the regional market. AirAsia has presence in all over the ASEAN market as well, and going as far as China.
Well, let's see how that actually pans out for them if they are going up. So Destini reported great, just to bring it all back to you, Destini reported great earnings today, driven by an increase in demand for its MRO. Revenue, of course, was up, although earnings were up. The leap is not as much, so it makes me worry a little bit about margins, but they do have a big order book, and that should carry them forward. Moving on to our stocks with momentum, we are looking at Eupe, and I actually called the company, and this is how you pronounce it, Eupe Corp Bhd. They are a Kedah-based property
developer.
company. Yeah, exactly. So these guys, right, they are planning to launch this new development project in Bangsar, some GDV of 500 million ringgit, and Cheras as well. They call it the Wave. I saw the art design for it. it's interesting to say the least. That one GDV is 300 million by 2016. But do you believe the story of the little property developer?
Well, if you ask me, Nadia, I don't really. I mean, property is still is going into a softening and cooling market today. I mean, you've seen big boys such as SP Setia, Eco World, and so on, all facing, tumbling in and softening property market.
But
it's a bit hard to believe in that.
Well, I think these guys have what I call soul cred, because they actually built 20,000 houses, and this is from their corporate video, by the way. 9,000, and this is all in Kedah. 9,000 of which have been low-cost housing. So I think they are planning to go in the big way. And you know what they say about property, right? Everything is about location, location, location. Bangsar, come on. Isn't it a great place to kind of start?
It is. I mean, if you look at Bangsar and Cheras, but concerns are still lingering. I mean, I wonder they have this economy of scale going from Kedah and suddenly being, competing against a big boy in the city centre.
Well, then they do have worries, as the other guys do, right? Definitely, raw material prices. What else are their concerns?
The building costs and also the GST as well impacting them as well, and also not forgetting the labour costs as well.
Yeah, well, earnings also have been down for them. I think they're sort of prepping themselves, because I was looking at the building. They're actually selling the concept of a smart building, a building that apparently you can control by your app. They even want to have like groceries delivered for you. I think that's the way of the future, especially when you go to new buildings and you want to compete. But just to bring it all back, it's actually pegged by negative momentum by the Edge Research. We forgot to mention that right, actually bit in the building. They plan to launch 2 development projects in Bangsar and Cheras by 2016. They have also a couple more projects, I think, in Seputeh. But of course, property concerns, I don't even know whether or not, these guys can match against the big guys who already have had so many issues.